Shalom Israel, we the ISUPK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of General Yohana. I'm Priest and Officer Don Yala. This is the Wednesday night law class. If you got any questions, type it in. If not, we're gonna move on with the class. So, any questions in the room? Well, the brother had a question about is the organs to the animals, is eating the organs of an animal unlawful, right? All right. Now, one, it depends on the organs. So, yes, the organs like liver and all that, yeah, that's lawful. The organs are lawful, of course, on a lawful animal under one circumstance. What is that circumstance? If it's a lawful animal, the organs can be lawful to eat under what circumstance?
Like, so I remember we was just going over this, like not a couple weeks ago. Dang.
Go ahead.
If it's not something that, like, if it's something that you can't cook all the blood out of.
Right. It gotta have no blood in it. So when you cook it, if you could press down on it and blood still in it, you can't eat it. So you can eat any organ that the animal on a lawful animal as long as there's no blood in it. You know, some parts is just you can fry it all you want, it's just still gonna bleed. That's just how it is. You just can't eat it. Like even with the meat, some people don't like getting it well done. They like to get it like medium rare or medium well. You can get your steak cooked whatever type you want. Usually, what I do, like I went to a restaurant. It was called like Shima's, right? And they bring you out all different types of steak and beef and everything. And I want to say I got medium well or something. And when I got it, I took my spoon and I pressed in it. Like every piece of steak or whatever they brought me out, I just pressed in it. Now, some of it, the oil came out. And I was like, okay, that means they cooked it all the way through. Then some of it, I pressed it, oil, and then a little bit of blood came out. And I was like, okay. Had to call the waiter back, like, yo, I can't eat this. You got to give me another piece or something. So, and it's like that with any part of the animal, really. Any part of a lawful animal you can eat as long as there's no blood in it. So I would say if you want to eat like the liver, certain organs, like I know like liver and all that, come in the pack when it's raw and it's bloody and all that's cool. Once you get to frying it and cooking it, the blood will just drain out of it. My rib love that type of stuff. I don't like it. My rib tearing that up. I can't see how you can eat that. Should be getting all types of crazy parts, but we'd take something and just squeeze it, and then no blood come out. Hey, you can eat it. I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing. So, yeah, eating the organs is lawful as long as there's no blood running in it. Let me get Leviticus 17 and 11. And I know what time you're talking about this. You talking about too, Nakar, because I think it was a question about. I think somebody asked me about like chicken gizzards or something. Was that lawful? Because they thought it was like a chicken heart and whatnot. And I think that's how we got on that topic. Chicken gizzards is good to tell too. Let's get Leviticus 17 and 11. Whoever got it can read.
Leviticus chapter 17, verse 11. For the life of the flesh is in the blood.
The life of that flesh is in the blood of the animal or the human. Once the blood is gone, the life is gone. And the life of that flesh is it's inside the blood. Read.
And I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls.
Right. That's like the life of the blood. The life of the flesh is in the blood. That's like we do a lamb slaughter every year before the Passover, where we go out and the lamb we have at the Passover, we slaughter the lambs ourselves and we have it at the Passover. And there's certain things you can't do before you catch the lamb and slaughter it. Like you can't scare the lamb. When the lamb gets scared and then it go into a distress mode and the blood start to run into the flesh. Once the blood run into the flesh, it's hard to cook the blood out. So the lamb become no good. That's why lambs are really docile animals. Like if anybody ever been to a lamb slaughter and seen like a lamb, when you would chase it around about like a good 5 minutes and catch it. And once you taking it over to cut the neck, it's just so calm. It's not fighting. It's just so calm, cool, and it's relaxed. Like it know its purpose, but it's still certain things in order to be able to kill the lamb. You can't. Certain things you can't do because the blood start to run in the flesh, what makes it so hard to get out. So because the life of the flesh is in the blood, which is why you can't eat blood. Which is why when you killing the animal, you got to let the blood run out of it or whatnot, and which makes it so disgusting. I'm to what I take one after class though. Which makes it so disgusting for like some of them Hamite tribes, and I've seen plenty of documentaries, and we got books back there too with them Hamites, man. They'd cut the animal and they'd have a bowl as the blood pour out, and they drink in the blood because they understand that the life of that animal is in the blood. Like they so fascinated with blood because they understand life is in the blood. Well, the Most High said for the life of that flesh is in the blood. Read on.
If I could, sir.
Go ahead, Nakar.
So, like, sir, a lot of white cults believe that too.
Mm-hmm.
They into having sex with little kids and stuff like that. They believe drinking the blood of like a child, or even taking the innocence of a child is like some kind of life in it.
Yeah, they think it makes them younger. And even with albinos in Africa, if you're albino in Africa, Lord be with you. Because they believe your blood is magical and pure, and they will drink your blood because they think it make them younger. Because they know the life of that person is in the blood. And the Lord said, for the life of the flesh is in the blood. Read on.
For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 12. Therefore, I said unto the children of Israel, no soul.
You know what? Salaki. Read verse 10. That's where we should have started. Start at verse 10.
Leviticus chapter 17, verse 10. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you.
Who are the strangers that sojourn amongst the house of Israel? Anybody want to give it a shot? Who are the strangers that sojourn against with the house of Israel? Who are the strangers? Brother?
Would it be like the other nations and stuff like that, or like Gentiles?
Nope. So who would the strangers be? If it can't be the other nations, then it's the Israelites. So like it one way is, hold on, let me see. Let me get the precept for the strangers. Car, you got the precept. Okay, here we go. Chronicles 15. Hold on, let me look at this. Give me 2 Corinthians 15 and 9. There's one precept. Hold on. Another one. Whoever get it first can read it.
If I may, you said second.
I mean, 2 Chronicles 15 and 9. Salakia, that's my fault. Hold on. What's that? Thinking of a precept about the strangers. Hold on, let me see. When you get 2 Chronicles, you can read it. Whoever get it first.
Right. The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 15, verse 9. And he gathered all Judah and Benjamin and the strangers with them out of Ephraim and Manasseh.
And he gathered all Judah, Benjamin, and the strangers out of Ephraim and Manasseh. Read.
And out of Simeon.
And the strangers out of Simeon. Read.
For they fell to him out of Israel in abundance.
Right, go ahead, read.
When they saw that the Lord his God was with them.
Right. Now, why is it calling them strangers? Why is it saying the strangers that sojourn amongst you? All right, first, what is a stranger? What would be a stranger? The definition of a stranger. I think that'll help better. Right? Go ahead.
Like someone you unfamiliar with. Or
someone, okay, a stranger that's sojourning, or what is sojourning against someone? What is that? When someone's sojourning amongst you, meaning what?
Mm-hmm. If I could, it means like they live around your vicinity.
Nah, if someone, okay, sojourning is someone that's on a journey, right? And they living amongst you now. So meaning it means like this person is not from here. It's like someone, it's Old Creek English for someone saying they going on a journey. Like, oh, I went on a journey, but now I ended up in New York City, right? So the strangers that sojourn amongst you, the reason why, the reason why it's not heathens and it's Israelites, for one, because the strangers that were sojourning amongst them had to keep the laws that they was keeping. And we know from the book of Psalms, 119, it tells us that the law is only for Jacob, right? So, and it's calling them strangers because they're not from where they at, right? So you might got some people that live in, like, I'm from Philadelphia. When I visit any place out of Pennsylvania, I'm considered a stranger. Even some places in Pennsylvania, we go to Pittsburgh, we consider strangers. We not from there, but we're sojourning there. So if a brother from Pittsburgh come to Philadelphia, he's a stranger that's sojourning there. So I have to treat him as if he was one of my brothers that live here already. I can't look at him like, man, that nigga from Pittsburgh. That's what gangs do. I'm not going to look at a brother like we got schools all over. A brother from California could come here to Philadelphia and it's going to be like he live here. I'm not going to treat him any different because he's not from here. So the strangers that come amongst you, I'm not going to treat them no different than the person that actually lives here. That's real big in Israel. Israel is known to do that. Israel is known to do that, which is why I had to become a law, right? Now, in some context, a stranger could be another nation, but it depends on the context. But in this context, when you're dealing with the law, it's talking about Israel, right? Once again, how do we know? A heathen What did it say about Esau? And I believe it's in the book of Hebrews. If he cried with tears, what did it say? What did he say? What did it say about Esau? If Esau cried with tears about. I don't want to give it to y'all. Damn. Okay, how can I? All right. A heathen that keep the law mean what? Let's say if this is a heathen, he keep the law and tells you to keep the law, and look, he don't eat pork, he don't smoke cigarettes. What happened when Christ come back? To that heathen who been keeping the law. Or let me say it like this. What happens to an Israelite who's not keeping the law and Christ come back?
I had a precept that you wanted.
You got precept? All right, hold that real quick. What happened to Israelites who don't keep the law and in Christ return? What happens to them?
They're gonna be.
Yeah, go ahead.
They're gonna be cut off.
Right. What happens to Israelites who do keep the law and Christ return? Go ahead.
They might be part of the elect.
They're going to be part of the elect. What happens to heathens who don't keep the law and Christ return?
Judgment Day.
What happened to heathens who do keep the law and Christ return? I thought you were going to give it a shot. Hold on, what you saying?
I just hopping on somebody's good.
You want to give it a shot? It's Hebrews 12 and 7. Hold that. Do you want to give? You could give it a shot. Or you can read it. You got it. Or do you want to give it a shot, or you want to read it?
I'll read it.
All right. Let's get it. All right, you can read it.
Hebrews chapter 12, verse 7. If ye endure chastity.
Oh, 12 verse 17. Salaki. 12 verse 17. Mm-hmm.
Hebrews chapter 12, verse 17. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected.
Now, this talking about the story of Jacob and Esau. Even after, it say he know that even afterwards, he wanted to inherit the blessing, he was rejected. So meaning, even though Esau was supposed to get the blessing, he still was rejected from it because it was never meant for him, right? Regardless of how it happened, the blessing was never meant for him, which is why when he tried to get it, he was rejected. Read.
For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears.
He found no place of repentance, even though he cried with tears. The blessing wasn't for him. It didn't matter. However it played out. Some people say Jacob tricked him and Jacob lied to get the blessing. However you say it. Some people say that his mom lied for him. However you want to put it, cool. It wasn't for him. It was no place for repentance, even if he sought it, even if he cried with tears, sought to cry, however worded. What does it mean when it say it was no place for repentance for him? Go ahead.
He wasn't given the law.
He was okay. He wasn't given the law, but no place for repentance, meaning it was nothing he can do where he can be forgiven for any sin that he committed. Even if he cries and asks for forgiveness, it was no place for him to be forgiven. Nothing he could have said or did. That's why I say even if he cried softly with tears. So him breaking down crying still meant nothing. And you know, most people when they break down and cry, it means that they're sincere and they really want to have a chance. It's like, I'm at my breaking point. Listen, the last thing any man want to do is cry. But when a man cries, it means, he's at his breaking point. He's at his breaking point. He can't take no more. He needs your help. Even if he does that, it's still no place for repentance. There's no way the Most High can forgive him for whatever he did. And that's because I'm gonna give you another drawing, the book of Psalms. (147:19). Let's get that. And then after this, in the card, you can read the precept you holding.
Come. Psalm, the book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob.
He showed his word unto Jacob. Read.
His statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
And gave his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. Read.
Verse 20. He hath not dealt so with any nation.
He haven't dealt so with any nation. Read.
And as for his judgments, they have not known them.
And because he haven't dealt with any nation, they don't know his judgments. What is the judgments? You know what the judgments is?
It's like the punishments for breaking the law, for transgression of the law.
Right. And if they don't know that, and also paraphrasing what the scriptures say, where there is no law, there is no there is no sacrifice. And it also says that it is better to not know the laws of the Most High than to know them and go against his holy commandments. So meaning the Most High is not going to punish you for breaking the law that you didn't know you was breaking, which is how we all end up here today. We all end up here today, even though we should have been dead a long time ago, because we all celebrated Christmas, all celebrated Thanksgiving. We didn't all, whether we smoked, we didn't all did some type of sin that we should have died for. But because we didn't know, we're here now to be given a second chance. Now, if they don't know his judgments, that's because they was never taught them. It was never meant for them to know. We didn't teach them that. You can do what the hell you want. What difference does it make? Your fate is sealed. Your fate is, this is the ending for you. This is the ending for us, but this is how we can receive it. So regardless of how many laws you want to keep or whatever you want to do, it really doesn't matter to the Most High, because you did what you did and you got to pay for it. You know, now, could the Most High have mercy on you? Yes. The Most High can have mercy on you to where as though maybe you won't be a slave in his kingdom who get the harsh end of the stick, who is dealing with you might get a slave master who might, because of course the captivity we put them in is going to be way more righteous than what they put us in. Like, we're not going to be doing half of the stuff they did to us. Like, we're not going to be raping these women or whatnot. We're not going to be making them have sex with each other unlawfully. Like, everything we do is going to be lawfully. We're not going to feed them pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster like they did with us. But we will do what they did unto us. We will do unto them as they did unto us, double. Which meaning what? You dashed our baby against the rocks and killed our kids. When that time comes, we will kill your kids lawfully though. So when this baby should go lawfully, it's going to go, regardless of how it's going to go. We're going to do everything lawfully according to the scriptures. We're not going to do what they did, because they didn't have the laws to know what they was doing was wrong. So regardless of what you do, it don't matter. So a stranger would just be your brother that's not from where you from. He's coming from another place. He's coming from another town, another city, another country, and he's coming over here and he's living amongst you, right? So I think we was in Leviticus, 17 and 10. Let's go back to Leviticus 17 and 10. Hey, shalom, sis. In the car, if you could, Bubba, could y'all give me some more the soda? Yeah, Leviticus 17 and 10. Let's go back to that. I think we left off. Yeah, you can read it from the top.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 17, verse 10. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people.
Now, and that further goes more proof into it. Take it from the top for me again, Bubba Kashar.
Verse 10. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel.
Whether he's from the house of Israel. Why is it saying the house of Israel? Meaning, why is it saying the house of Israel? Sis, I see.
It could be that he's talking about the house of praise or the community.
Right. The community, the house of Israel, meaning who lives with you, who lives around you, your community. So whether they be from the house of Israel, the people who live with you, read on.
Or of the strangers.
Or of a stranger, someone who don't live with you. They live over here, but they're where you at now. A brother might be in California, but he's in Philadelphia now. He would be considered a stranger that lives amongst you. Read.
Or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood.
Now, this stranger, as he live amongst you, if he eat in manner of blood, and also too, and a stranger too, is because this is a brother who live amongst you, right? And he's around you, and he don't know the law too, which is why he eating blood. Or he could know the law and just still eating blood going against it. The Most High is saying something against that brother who does this. Whether he's from where you from or he's from somewhere else. When he's around you and he eat any manner of blood, read.
I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood.
He's going to set his face against that soul. How do the Most High set his face against you?
People curses.
When stuff starts to happen, he don't pay attention to you. He let it happen. He set his face against you. So meaning now he's angry. He see you doing something he told you not to do. So now when something happens to you, he's just gonna be like, act like he don't even see it happening. Why? Because if he see it happening, he could stop it. But if he don't see it happening, he can't stop it. But he sees everything, which is why when something happens, he's just going to, I told you not to eat blood, but you went down this place and you ate some blood. So guess what? Oh, they about to rob his house and kill him? Okay. Just like that. And the precept for that is Proverbs, the 1st chapter. And he could just look right away. Why? Because you didn't listen to what he told you. Read on.
And will cut him off from among his people.
Now, he's going to cut the person that eat the blood, he's going to set his face against him and cut him off from amongst his people. Right? Who is his people? Israel. Whether he's from the house of Israel or he's a stranger who's sojourner amongst Israel. So if this stranger is sojourning amongst Israel, and if he eat blood and the Lord cut him off, who is he cutting him off from? His people. Who is his people? The people he living around, Israel, which is why he's there. So in the car, read the precept you had.
Come on, sir. It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 17.
Oh, no, Salaka, we read that one. Okay, yeah. We read that one. All right, so where we stop at? We stopped at verse 11. You can read verse 12.
Verse 12. Therefore, I said unto the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat blood.
No soul, no one gets a pass. Whether it's you, whether it's a stranger, nobody gets a pass, right? And this was part of the reason where when Christ came and allowed us to get a second chance, right? Because there were some people who was doing it who didn't know it was wrong. But what happened to people who do it and didn't know it was wrong? It was still no excuse. If they kicked your door open and you was eating flesh with blood in it, they would kill you for it. The Levitical priest was not trying to hear, oh, I didn't know. They was not trying to hear that you would die for it. Christ came to give us that grace, because now we living in a time where we do a bunch of stuff because of the society we live in and the stuff they push on us. We do a bunch of stuff that we don't know is against God. Here's the chance for us to find out what is against God so we can stop doing it. Now, once you find out what's against God, you have to stop doing it, because there's no excuse. There's no forgiveness for, like I say in the book of Hebrews, a person that knows the law and break it. I'm paraphrasing. If you know the law, like there's no forgiveness for, I know that's a brother wife, but I'm going to still sleep with her anyway and then pray afterwards. Nah, the Most High ain't letting that go. You got to pay for that because you knew it was wrong. You have to, he's going to pay you back for that some way, somehow. So, it's once you know the law, that's why I tell people all the time, once you know, it's a different story. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. You sit in these classes. Hold on, let me get a precept too. Let me get Mark 7 and 13. Let's go to the book of Mark, chapter 7, verse 13. Yeah, go ahead. You got it. Whoever get it can read it.
Right. The book of Mark, chapter 7, verse 13. Making the word of God of none effect through your tradition.
Now, let's, because this is actually good. 13. Let's start at verse 10.
Verse 10. For Moses said, honor thy father and thy mother, and whoso curseth father or mother, let him die that death.
Moses said, honor your father and your mother. For the person who curses father and his mother shall die because they curse their father and their mother. Now, there's a way you can honor your father and your mother, right? Because a lot of people get this scripture mixed up. Now, what does it mean to honor your father and mother? Sis? Respect is one. And what else? Bro?
Like, don't do anything dishonorable to the household and so forth.
If I could, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments.
Okay. All those is true, but not for the topic's sake, right? And here's why I say that. Let's go with, what was your answer? Respecting a household?
Right. Being like, don't do anything dishonorable to the household.
Anything dishonorable, right? Now, let's say if your father or your mother not in the truth, they don't believe in, what you believe in, right? What would they consider dishonorable?
It doesn't depend on what they worship. So say if they were like worshiping idols and you disagree with them, that to them can be disrespect, or you can say like
Right.
political view, and you have a different political view and they say something different, and you go against whatever they say that can be disrespect,
Right.
even if they're wrong.
Right, which is why you gotta be careful with that, because just like the sis said, now let's say if they don't believe in what you believe in, when Christmas come around, if you don't celebrate Christmas, you dishonorable. The honorable thing to do is to give them a present or take this present, right? Going to church every Sunday. I know damn well my parents look at me as dishonorable for not going to church, but I don't give a damn. So it really depends on what dishonorable means to your parents, right? But also, honoring your father and your mother is, let me see. Let's read on. Let's read on. It'll go into it. It'll go into it a little bit.
Verse 11. But ye say, if a man shall say to his father or mother, it is korban, that is to say, a gift.
Korban means it's a gift. Read. Mm-hmm.
By whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, he shall be free.
So meaning, if a man say to his father or mother, it's a gift for me to do this for you. Like when you tell your father and your mother, it's a gift. Read on.
Verse 12. And ye suffer him no more to do aught for his father or his mother.
Right. So now, you're supposed to honor your father and your mother, but you tell your father and your mother, but if a man shall say to his father or his mother, so you saying to your father and your mother, it's a gift. What is a gift? What is he saying makes it a gift? He's saying to his father and his mother, it's a gift. What is the gift he's talking about to his father and his mother? It's a gift that read after read verse 11 again.
Verse 11. But ye say, if a man shall say to his father or mother, it is korban, that is to say, a gift.
Now, if you say to your father, your mother, this is a gift. Read.
By whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me.
By whatsoever you profited by me. Meaning, it's a gift by whatever help you get from me, it's a gift. If a man say that to his father and his mother, whatsoever help you get from me, it's a gift. By whatsoever you profited from me, it's a gift. And this, in today's English, whatsoever, if you say this to your father, your mother, whatsoever you get from me is a gift.
So basically you're saying like, me as an individual, so say you be in a situation where your father falls sick and you come to his aid, basically, and you help him out. So because if those parents gave birth to you, that's like a blessing to God because that child is there to help you as you go to old age.
That's exactly what it's saying. Most High Christ. Let's get a sister in hand. Right? So you shouldn't say to your parents, it's a gift for me to help you out. Right? Because when your parents is old, and obviously you're helping them out because they at an age where they can't help themselves. So if your parents is old and they can't help themselves, they call it the cycle of life. Why? Why do they call it the cycle of life?
Because they raised you and you couldn't walk or speak.
Right, because at one point you was a baby in diapers, and you couldn't help yourself, and they wasn't telling you, hey, stop crying, it's a gift for me to help you because you're crying. So when they go from babies to grown-ups to damn near back to babies, they in diapers, they can't walk without your help, they can't eat without your help. They sick, they can't take their medicine, they can't do, it's almost like they're a baby again. For you to tell them, hey, yo, stop complaining, it's a gift for me to even help you. You should not do that. That is not an honorable thing. Yes, your mother or father might be a Christian, or they might not believe in what you believe in. But the honorable thing to do is, when you was a baby and didn't believe in nothing and didn't have no help, and what they did for you, do the same thing for them. It's evil because, when I was 16, my mom used to beat the hell out of me. So now she's 80 and can't walk. You shoving a damn spoon down her throat, reminding her of all the stories from when you were 16 when she beat you. and she's sitting in the same goddamn diaper for 3-4 days, sometimes weeks, because you angry and you looking at this as payback, and you telling her she should be grateful because what you doing for her is a gift, meaning I don't have to do this for you. I could be somewhere else. Well, guess what? She could have put you in foster care, or even worse, laid there and neglected you, and she could have been somewhere else. But you're here now because your father and your mother took care of you. So how do you honor them? Mom, I know what mom and father, I know what you did. Mother and father, I know what you did to me, back when I was 10, and Lord knows I'm 53, still holding a goddamn grudge for Lord knows I don't know why. I know what you did, but you need my help. I'm not going to allow you to go in no nursing home where they probably don't take care of you how you should be. I can take care of you how you need to be taken care of, so guess what? I'm going to do it. That's an honorable thing. And so, like in the car, you had your hand up? I'm going to get you that, sir.
Another thing, too, man, parents and abortion. So many abortions goes on in like the Hispanic American community. We do the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
When we seen them numbers, the numbers was 300,000 plus each year.
Right.
When we bring up the topic and the discussion of abortions, a lot of people like to victimize themselves, right? So they'll say to you, you'll bring up the statistics, well, we out here having carefree sex, being careless, not ready, not understanding which sex is marriage. We having over 300,000 abortions. They gonna tell you, they're gonna be like, hey, well, what about the ones that have been raped? When that percentage
is less than 1%.
Yeah, less than 1%. We understand, and we encourage anybody, if you don't want the child, just give it up to them.
Right. And not to cut you off, but with that being said, the percentage of getting raped and getting pregnant from it is less than 1%. If it does happen, it still don't mean you should abort the baby. It's against the law. There's no loopholes to sinning against the Most High where he will understand. Hey, well, you were raped by a stranger and, got pregnant. There's no loopholes. There's no loophole. You still got to keep the law. Go ahead, sis.
Okay. So I'm glad you brought up this subject because there's a lot of conflict with about our parents. There are situations where you have kids who they came from such a bad household. I don't know if you ever heard of the book called The Child Called It.
Mm-hmm.
And situation where some kids were given away by their parents, and I know a lot of Black kids, their lives are messed up because of their parents. And even if they wanted to, they can't even help their parents because the parent put them in such a bad situation. When you have kids, you're supposed to pass on wealth. Mm-hmm. But what happens is a lot of times reverse. You have like some of these single mothers will put their kids' name on certain credits, like light bills.
Yeah,
bills,
I'm a victim to that.
That's wrong.
Right.
You are causing that child to have a disability, and when some of these kids can't do nothing, especially the Black males who are going to jail, and all they can do is be criminal because they can't function in society. Society punished them, but the parents who put them in that situation, those parents don't get punished. That's an unfair and unjust thing to do to that child. That child is a blessing to you, and God could have called you not to even have kids. Some of those parents don't even deserve to have children because when you raise a kid up right, and a kid is able to function in society, they're able to take care of their parents. But if they're not able to function, and that's even go deeper, a lot of these kids, honestly, who are raised by single mothers, they become criminals, they whores, and a lot of people blame them. I remember there was I don't know if you saw that video of Joe Biden, where he said, he stated, I don't care how these kids grew up, they were the ones who created the single mother system, but he said, if your kid comes after our children, we come after you, basically what he said. Mm-hmm. Basically punishing those kids for the circumstance that they're in. what do you say for a child who is not able to take care of themselves because of their parents? I don't feel like that child is obligated to take care of their parents. They can't even take care of themselves. And it's another thing that I noticed, and what would you say about a lot of these kids who are selling drugs and prostituting and giving money to their mother? I feel that person is a damn person. That you see a child doing criminal things and you taking money from that.
Right.
They should be cursed. That's not fair to put all this pressure on a child who they didn't have to be born, or you brought them here simply because you know you can financially benefit from either it's welfare or through child support or having your kid do criminal activities.
Right. So the question was, what do I say about the parents who bring the kids here, knowing that the kids can't fend for themselves?
Right.
I mean, okay, I give you an example. Like, okay, sometimes, like, it happens. The mother meets a man, they get intimate, and then the kid comes. They not expecting the kid out of it, right? So the kid is born. Even most of the time, the kid is not even expected. They didn't ask to be here. The kid come here. The parents put everything in their name. Just damn near destroy the whole kid future before they become 18, and don't put them in a position where as though when the parents get older, I can't take care of you because you messed up my whole future. So now that you at an age where you can't take care of yourself, how am I going to be able to take care of you? Right, and I bring that up, right? Because this was so heavy about this topic, and I give you a personal story. I want to say, I was 20 something. I probably was around like 22. And I started to work on my credit. So as I go to work on my credit, I realized there was a lot of things off my credit and there was a lot of things that were still on my credit. But even the stuff that fell off still affected my credit. And I was sitting there like, yo, how in the hell is this possible? So as I start to dig deep and I start to look at it, I had bills and like a ton of stuff in my name that dated back to even when I was 10. And I'm on the phone arguing with these credit people like, yo, I was 10 years old. How in the hell could I have cable in my name? And I was 10.
I don't find that funny.
No, but it's that is frequent in the black community. Like, we not laughing as if it's just funny because he got his hand raised, right? I guarantee he gonna tell me a similar story. And he's shaking his head, so I guarantee he know what I'm talking about, right? I got, it's what, like 8 of us. I got 8 other siblings, right? Who each of us went through the same thing. That is like a black thing, right? To where as though I'm on the phone arguing with them.
Is that really a black thing? See, I don't like to say that not all black parents are like that.
No. When I say a black thing, meaning I mainly hear about this from my black friends.
Okay.
Like when I have talked to my black friends, or I might bring it up, they laugh and be like, yo, the same thing happened to me. Right? So I'm on the phone arguing with them. I got T-Mobile bills or Verizon bills. And I'm reading the list to them and I'm breaking it down to them. But I realize they don't give a damn what I'm telling them. They know because off of my birthday and year I was born, that I was 10 years old when that was put in my name, meaning it wasn't me. They don't give a damn. They want the money. So guess what I had to do? I called my mom up. Hey, mom, look, I just got off the phone with the credit people. And they said I got this, that, and the third in my name. The only logical sense that makes is you had to do it. She said, I don't know what you're talking about. I never did that. And I was like, yeah, I was like, damn. Okay. I just took a deep breath. I gave it a few days. Called her back. I said, Mom, as I talk to the people, a lot of the addresses and a lot of the information they gave me, it don't point towards fraud, which is why I can't beat it. it points towards someone who had my information. The addresses that the cable and stuff linking up to is the houses that I lived in, which is hard to point to a fraud. And she still denied it. And then I was like, okay. I knew how hard it was for my mom growing up. She didn't plan me. She didn't plan none of my other siblings. She was having sex like everyone else, and we popped up out the blue. I didn't plan none of my kids, and they're here. I knew how hard it was. I remember growing up, eating sugar sandwiches, and she with 6 kids, trying to make the best out of goddamn nothing. Do we want to sit in a goddamn dark? No, but her credit is so messed up. Guess why? Because her mom did the same thing to her. So we fast forward, she can't get nothing in her name, but she got 6 kids. And she's doing it to keep the lights on, but she's not having an income to keep it on. She's not doing this because she's just irresponsible. She got 6 mouths to feed in the house with light bill with 6 kids, where the bill gonna be $300 on top of rent. What the hell can she do but keep switching the rent or the bill name into different kids' name? So real quick, so what I decided to do was, of course she's not going to admit it, because she probably feels as though I don't understand when she explained why she did it. So guess what? I'm gonna just get this stuff off my credit. I'm gonna just do them all. Like her denying it, there's no other person to go to. Because even the time frame, my father wasn't even in the picture. So I can't go to him about him using anything because he don't got my social security or nothing. He didn't even know me at the goddamn time. I met my father when I was like, what, damn near a teenager? So the age that all these bills is falling in my name, I can't even question him. He didn't know me. She's the only one that had this type of information. Okay, cool. So what I did was I went and I fixed it myself. Once I got it fixed, I never held a grudge against her for that, from what she did to me when I was 10, and now I'm 25 and I'm mad because in 2000 she got cable in my name that messed up my credit for when I tried to get something. I tried to get a phone in 2008. Couldn't get it because my credit was bad. Come to find out my credit was bad because in 2000 I had a Verizon bill in my name that's about $1,200, but I was able to knock it off, and I just let it go. I just let it go. It's like a sister at your hand up.
Okay. So first, foremost, I know friends who have single mothers, and one thing I noticed is they were the only child. They had a sibling. But what they mothers didn't do, they learned from their mistakes, and they didn't keep on having kids over and over again. So that's just being irresponsible.
Right.
If you live in a bad situation and you know that situation is bad, why would you continuously keep on putting yourself in that situation over and over again? That's almost like insanity. That's first thing. The second thing is when you give people a leeway or out for certain things, it's like you're allowing them to ponder in their degeneracy. People have to be held responsible for their own action, especially as an adult, because you're going to cause a trickle effect to all generations, and this is one of the reasons why children now, why this generation is so messed up. We can't just we need to hold people responsible. I don't like that, especially with female, because you're the carrier of the child. The government give you all these type of things, prevention from not abortion. Abortion is not prevention, but they have all types of prevention for you not to get pregnant to start with. So what that's saying is you either very incompetent, you don't know how to prevent yourself from getting pregnant, or you just intentionally doing this on purpose. One or the other, or both maybe. But the point is, I don't like that. That's not fair. You're responsible for your children. If having a child is a gift, then treat it like a gift. If when God gives you a gift and you just treat it any type of way, you will get a curse yourself. And that's why this generation is cursed. And what I'm noticing that's happening is I'm beginning to see a lot of, particularly black females, older females, elderly females, left alone. Like a lot of them live by themselves. They don't have people around. They don't have their kids around. And I'm seeing that as a trend. But I also seen why this is a trend. See, back then, black females used to hold themselves at a higher esteem, and that's why the community always protect older females. But now I'm seeing a reverse. It's happening, and I'm seeing it's going to get worse because there's a lot of resentment. I know situations where mothers resent their daughters because when they look at them, it reminds them how they used to be, and they feel like their daughters took their, I guess, beauty or whatever. So they look at their sons, they remind them of the man they used to be with. They hate the fact that they're masculine, and they try to demasculate that child. That's why you see a lot of homosexual children being born from single mothers. There's a lot of things that's happening, and it's mostly in the black community, but when you do that to any people, it's going to affect that society tremendously. But the thing is, females have a big responsibility. One of the biggest responsibilities that you have is who they choose for a father.
That's a fact.
And you create a child. You create another being. That's a God-given right. And I don't like when people try to make excuses for that at all.
Question, you got kids?
No, not yet.
No kids. Nakar, you got kids, right?
Come.
You got kids?
So they only have one step kid.
One step kid. So, how old was your mom when she had you, Nakar?
My mom probably was like 18.
18. How old was your mom?
She had me probably like 20.
23. How old was your mom?
Mid-20s.
Mid-20s. So, a child is a blessing, which is true. And the scriptures say that a child is a blessing. And females should know that a child is a blessing, right? What happens if she's 14? She's pregnant.
Well, I see, there used to be a situation where there used to be a lot of young teenage girls getting pregnant, but that's not even the point. I see a lot of people in their 20s, mid-20s, even their 30s being irresponsible. So it's a mentality. Because how are these older females getting pregnant like this? And some of these females, let's not get me wrong, some of these females came from two-parent household. I'm seeing some of these girls who from two-parent household who are being irresponsible with the reproduction system, and I think it's a weird trend. I don't know where this trend came from, but you see like a woman come from a good household and they would dishonor themselves. Their parents are professionals, and here she is at 27 having bastard kids. That don't make any sense.
Right, but okay. It doesn't make any sense. She's 27 having bastard kids. I understand, right? But what is a good household? Considered a good household? Nakar?
No, sir. A good household would be the mother and father staying together.
Nah, because you got some parents, some households who got two parents, and that shit is a hellhole. Let me go with this real quick. What's a good household?
See, it depends on the person who creates that child. That person who they, like you said, not every two-parent household is great. I know some is horrible, but the passion and the work that parent, because anybody can be a mother and a mother and a father. A parent is a unique word because that's how they raise up their child. And I know people who were single parents. I know a young man who's a single parent, and this man is amazing father, and he would die for his kid. But you can tell by the spirit of that parent. You can't say, it's hard to say what's a good parent, good household, but you can tell by the passion that person put into their child. They have integrity. Like they won't mess with their kids' credit. They won't put the child in a bad situation. They would rather starve than see their daughter prostitute themselves, their son sell drugs. They would rather starve to them.
Right. Okay, I see what you was gonna say. What you was gonna say, brother?
So I was gonna say, like, what's so heavy about that question is like, even to think about answering that correctly, it's like you gotta kind of shift your paradigm, because it's like for us to even wrap our minds around like distinctly like us having lived in a good household, we would have to have good futures, good longing prosperity, and keeping up with, and having this continue throughout our generation. So like, even if you was to ask that among all type of Israelite families, like what is a good household? It's like you gotta stop. You gotta stop and think like, okay, your initial reaction is always to think, I had a good household, I survived, and all that. But
Right.
sometimes it's hard to wrap your mind around it, and then you start to question a lot about your reality, your perception. It's a real hard thing to start to think like, did I have a good household? Was it right how things went down?
Which is why I'm asking the question, because it's a point that I'm gonna get to, but it's like it says, go ahead.
One last thing. I think people, when they suffer trauma, they put a wall, and
Definitely.
they sometimes live in a delusional reality. That's why you see a lot of people run to entertainment. Because, and this is not only about family household, this is for anything, either your finance, either your career, either your love life, your marriage life. You put up a border, and you try to, it's a psyche issue where you try to make up an imaginary world, like I would say sky, pie in the sky dream, where you try to run away from reality. The reality, when somebody brings out the reality and tears that border down, something happens to your psyche. And there's two things you can either do. You can either break down, or you can take in that reality and try to change it. But what happens is, it depends on the individual, how strong they are. When you're talking about something as frail as how you would bring up, especially your childhood trauma is something big, because it does affect your life. That's why you see so much degeneracy. Sometimes I don't blame some of these people for being homosexuals or turn into like a crime, because nobody ever listens to that inner child of that person and what they went through. And the problem is why a lot of kids who suffer trauma become broken is because those children never had justice.
Right.
If you never had justice, a lot of times you cannot grow. You stay perpetually a child. Sexual abuse is a big thing. And
definitely, especially in the Black community.
Right. And it's something that we try to hide under the rug. But the thing is, you see people who are perpetual children, and that the reason for that is because their psyche is broken and they never got justice. If they ever had justice and the trauma that was addressed, those people will be able to grow for themselves.
Right. All right. So in a nutshell, right? All right. Last one, the car. Go ahead.
Sir.
And then when you're done, so you give me some more soda.
So heavy,
Right. Now you can finish your point. You didn't do it.
Isupk so heavy because we the ones that's on the front line helping the people. You know what I mean? Any way, shape, form, and fashion you think about it, we got our hand in it some way, somehow. Like when we teach about not being homosexual and all that, like we still love them brothers. You understand? But we gotta look down on all the evil things that the Lord said that is evil, and show them, yo, we understand what you've been through. Pretty sure a lot of brothers and sisters came into school, had a horrible past, got the counseling that they needed. They now be able to love themselves. They able to see the Lord in a good eye view, and then be able to marry somebody. Being able to feel comfortable, because most people that have been victim of molestation and rape, they don't know how to love, and
Right.
and that's why most of their relationships always go down the drain because you never dealt with it. But here, we're here to help get you. That's why we do the 6 month rule, say, to a year.
Yeah, we teaching you as if, like the scripture say, you born again, right? And being born again meaning you come in here, you looked at as a baby. When I would be considered 10 years old. That's how long I've been here, right? And the car would be considered. How long you been here in the car?
Going on 4 years, sir.
4 years old, like a baby. We still babies. Commander Junior Honda, grown ass man. He been here longer than all of us. Commander Junior Honda, grown ass man. General Hyman, grown ass man. General Mayak, General Haas, all of them, right? Because you got to be born again, right? So this is, and to go into what all y'all points is, right? This is the thing, right? Which is why I asked about a 14-year-old or whatnot, X, whatever age or whatnot. My mom had me when she was 18, but she had her first child at 14, right? We dealing with a society. Here's what we forget too, right? A lot of us don't intentionally, not saying that there's not people out there that do, that intentionally mess up their kids' future. But when you black in America, regardless of the help that America claims to give you, most of these women out here is not on purpose trying to mess up their kids' future. They're put in a position where they have no choice, or they're going to be in the dark eating peanut butter sandwiches for the next 2 weeks. Or I can act like you older than what you are, get the lights on, get the heat on because it's wintertime, and then move on. Do they know this is going to mess up their child's credit? Hell no. Hell no, they don't know most of the time. They don't know. They don't know anything about credit. They don't teach you that in school or anywhere you go. They're not teaching you about credit or future or property or owning anything. You don't learn that in these, not the schools we go to. The schools we go to, they don't teach us none of that. All we know is that we know someone who works for this place, and they taught me a loophole to where as though I can get my lights back on. I got 12 kids, no goddamn lights in my house. Guess what's going to happen if someone sees I got 12 kids and no lights in my house? Guess what's going to happen next? For a person that's actually concerned about that. Go ahead.
You would call child services.
They're going to call child services. Do you think that mother is trying to lose her 12 kids? Even though none of them was planned? Hell no. No father, no nothing in the picture. Someone's going to say, yo, listen, I've never seen no lights on in there. What the hell is going on in there? They're going to go to school, and kids, they talk. They're going to say certain things that's going to catch the ear of the teacher. I had a cousin who, come to find out, okay, my aunt didn't have any water in her house. My cousins was getting washed up because they was going to school, and the teachers knew that they didn't have water. So they was letting them come a little early and wash up in the school. And the teachers would never say nothing. They would never say nothing. Why? Because it was about 10 of them. And they knew how hard it was. My aunt was married. You cannot get any government assistance when you're married in America. You have to lie and say you don't know your kid's father. You had a one-night stand in order to get help from America. The last thing a mother wants to do is have her 10 kids go into, foster care, even though none of them was planned. They all get on her goddamn nerves. She's mad as hell. But the last thing she wants is them to go. Now, there's a loophole to help us live in this house where we're behind on rent, but we can have hot water. We can at least have some good hot meals, some heat. Raymond, okay, I can lie about his age, but use his social security number, and we can get this thing rolling. Do she know when Raymond turned 18, he's going to want to buy a house, and realize he can't buy a house because when he was 8, you use his credit? Hell no, he don't. But she did the best she can do. Why? Because America, you cannot, if you're a black woman in America, you cannot survive on your own and expect to get help from them. They will not allow it. Another personal story. I remember me, my mother, all my other 5 siblings, and my stepfather. Our house burnt down to the ground. We had nothing. We went to a shelter. You know what they told us? Go ahead.
They turned out the stepfather became the man. I heard that.
They turned us down because it was a man with us. So you know what my mom did? She waited, went to a different facility, and act like she didn't have a man. And I never understood why she did that. She acted like she didn't have a man. She acted like she was going through a divorce, didn't have a man, deadbeat, didn't know. And I'm sitting there like, what? I never understood what was going on. Not realizing the first place that we went to turned her down. Now, there's millions of other sisters that's happening to. Now, why? Most of them getting molested. Most of them is the sons turning into drug dealers, murderers who was getting molested. Most of the daughters is getting molested, and they have nobody to hear them out. When they go to their mom and say, hey, mom, such and such been touching me. You think the mom give a damn when such and such been paying the bills or been doing what the hell they can? All the mom care about is making sure you have a place to live. Right. You think the mom give a damn about who been touching you when the person that's touching you is making sure y'all sleep good at night? The mom don't give a damn, right? Because the mom don't have the laws, and that's the whole point. Go ahead, sis.
Well, I would explain that because females and males are built differently. And as females, with our psyche is who's going to take care of me. But the problem is the man that you first, and you mentioned this, the man that you first sleep with is your husband. And so that's why it's important that a woman chooses the right person. Now, you said, like, your mom had several kids, and I'm not trying to brag your mom or your aunt, but she did the right thing by getting a stepfather, and God bless him if he was a good stepfather. But again, I knew kids who didn't have a father, but their mother only had 1 or 2 of them. See, when you know that you messed up once or twice, if you do it 3, 4, 5 times, then that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's sanity.
It doesn't. But right, it doesn't, sis. But messing up 3, 4, 5 times, right?
I understand that's your mom, but dude, like.
No, not even my mom. Just like period, right? Messing up that many times, right? How are they messing up?
You keep on having kids over, but
and how are they having kids?
By sleeping with men, but that's your body. That's what nobody.
They don't know that though.
No, man. Once you do, if the first 2 men that you had denied you, okay. You have to ask 2 things about yourself as a woman. Why did these men don't like me? Because sometimes, like females, we have certain characters.
Okay, I think this is the point you missing, sis. Because what you just said, why don't these men like me? These sisters don't give a damn why these men don't like them. They just worried about who can get them through the night. Which is why when this brother is done with me, less than 24 hours, they got a new man in the home. You call in a new man daddy, you call in a new man father, less than 24 hours. Why? Because she's trying to find out who can help you not have these long, cold nights. She's in survival mode. The woman is in survival mode. Go ahead, sis.
I agree with that survival mode because that's what happened when the females feel threatened. They turn to their sexuality to manipulate the situation. But what I'm saying is we have all different types of ways to prevent prevention. We don't have the see.
Real quick, sis. Give me Proverbs 22:6. But go ahead, sis.
Men only have one way to prevent pregnancy, and that's condom. But they have a whole list of things. Plan B, one of the best things they can.
Now, question. How much Plan B costs?
So they used to have
Right. But now they make you pay for it because they realize how many people is buying it. You know how much it costs now? The car.
It range from 50 to 60.
Right. Who has okay, if you having sex 2-3 times a day, 5 days a week, who have that much plan B?
But how much did a child cost? So that's the life.
But a child costs way more. But who has $50 to $60 laying around every day to get rid of the child?
Look, I'm trying to be lenient, but
Mm-hmm.
look, if you don't have money to protect yourself from sex, then you really should be having sex.
Which is true. And I agree with that. If you don't have money to take care of a child, right? Or if you don't have, you shouldn't be out here having sex, having kids if you know, whatever, if you just can't take care of them. But our people are out here lost. They don't know that. Like, imagine how many sisters that can hear that from you and probably actually agree with you, but they never heard that. They're living somewhere in the ghetto deep down where they haven't had electricity in 2 weeks. Here come this guy in the nice car with $10,000 hanging out his pocket. All they know is, what can I do? So it sounds good to, you know, hey, just don't have sex if you can't have a baby. That sounds good to a person who lives like an animal, who don't know nothing. They don't know, they don't have the privilege right now to come sit in this class and learn from us and hear the stuff you saying that might say, damn, she make a good point, maybe I need to change. Or come hear one of the teachers, Salakia, come hear one of the teachers teach and then say, damn, they right, I have to change. But I really, and here's why I can't fault one of them people, right? Here's why I can't fault none of them. Because once upon a time, I was like them. You know when I stopped living like them? When I came in here, when I started to learn more. At one point in time, condoms, what? Sound crazy to me. It just sound crazy to me. Condoms to me, I used to call it diet sex. That's what I used to call condoms, diet sex. I didn't give a damn who was going to get pregnant. I just didn't care. Knowing I didn't have $1 to my name, knowing that I was going to ghost a girl who got pregnant, I didn't give a damn. You told me you was pregnant, I'm out. If you even think you was pregnant, I'm out. If you even let me not use a condom, I'm out. Why? For the fear of not using a child. For the fear of having a child, not being able to take care of them because of the consequences that come behind it when you're dealing with America. Right? But it was an escape for me. It was a form of where I felt love when I had it. I knew this girl wanted to feel love so much that she was willing to do anything for me or anybody else. So I took advantage of it. And now this sister might be left with a child and the guy is ghost. Why? Because he's seen she was vulnerable. He's seen she was just looking for love anyway. Now she go through her life not finding love, not knowing what love is, sleeping with any man who could pay her bills and help her kids, or at least make her feel safe. Fast forward 10 years later, she got 5 kids. She don't know what the hell to do because all the men she had sex with is not around. Why? She was lost. She didn't know. She didn't know what the hell was happening. She was lost. She was vulnerable. She just needed help. And guess what? When she was molested at one point and she came to her mom and told her mom, what did her mom say? For her to be so damaged because she was molested at a young age means when she told her mom about being molested, what did her mom say?
She didn't really care.
She didn't care. She didn't believe her. When she told her mom she was being molested by somebody that was close to her, what did her mom say?
Probably blamed her.
Yeah. You shouldn't be walking around here with them little shorts on and your breasts all hanging out. She would blame the daughter. So guess what? The daughter never felt love from her mom, don't know who the hell her dad is. Then someone comes along and do everything for her she asks. And all in return she have to give him is some tail. When she went to her own mother saying that the very church you go to, the person that you listen to speak them scriptures, he molested me in the back. Hey, Uncle such and such who you had come over touch me every now and then. When her mom rejected her and came up against her for that, but then she got some cat in the finest car, finest clothes, all the money, listening to her story, and all she got to give him is some ass. What the hell is she supposed to do? Say, oh, my morals is bigger than that. I'm cool. I'm not going to sleep with you. Why? So the money can go away? So her kids can starve? So they can sit in the dark? All she know to do is, oh, he's going to get all the ass he can ask for. He's listening. I understand. Fast forward 10 years later, she got 12 kids, and she don't even know the name to any of the niggas she had sex with. But she's damaged. But guess what? She roll up in here and all that get fixed. That's the point of this school. This school is not here to turn away sisters who damage and, you've been molested and raped and you done been through so much stuff in your life. We're here to help you get over that. Because we living in a society where as though, can you imagine having 10 kids and then you go get welfare and they give you $500 in food stamps? A month? Like a month. I know a sister that had 6 kids and was getting $1,200 in food stamps. She would spend all $1,200 on the food and it still wouldn't be enough. Halfway through the month is done. Every time she got a man, they kicked her off food stamps. Every time. What the hell is they supposed to do? This society, no matter how many programs they got out here for you, is not meant to help you. It's meant to help you keep the men out the house. You can't go into a shelter with a man. You can't get on public assistance with a man. You can't get food stamps with a man. And then when you get on all these programs, claiming you don't have a man, they're not giving you enough because it's not amount enough for the type of children you have. And then here's another thing. What happens when you get on public assistance, food stamps, and you got a job and you pulling in more than 15 hours a week? What happens? What do?
They stop it.
They stop it. So you can't work more than 15 hours a week, meaning you pulling in probably less than $200 a week and probably getting less than $200 in food stamps a week. For what? You got 5 kids. It's not helping. Go ahead, sis.
Okay. So I never said that I placed the blame on them. This would be,
I was speaking in general. I wasn't saying you. I was speaking in general.
Yeah, so this 3 thing I wanted to break down. So I would understand if the person was a young teenager. That is understanding. However, I understand if the person is a young teenager. However, after the 3rd child, it is kind of unforgivable. And another thing is, what was I gonna say? Oh, jeez. Oh my God. I was waiting for so long.
Not good.
So yeah,
Come
so
to you.
I was gonna say, we live in a time where they're making it a trend. So now we have an issue that's beyond anything because I'm seeing not only grown adults behaving like this, but I also...
Okay, hold on. When you say make it a trend, what you mean?
Yes, I'm noticing that people who are coming from good backgrounds are doing this on purpose. This be doing, like, I'm noticing that there are females who just creating kids just to create kids because it's now a trend. I'm seeing it everywhere, like not only in the Black community, but I'm seeing it everywhere. It's disgusting because you're creating these kids not out of love. You just create it because it's a trend. So these kids are looked at as objects, And then I was gonna make another point. You brought up the point about the mothers neglecting their daughters or their son, especially when it comes to abuse. This takes me back in the beginning when I said that when you have parents who don't care or put their children in a bad situation, just like the young lady who was molested by the uncle or by the pastor. This is my personal family, and I understand that in the Bible it preaches forgive and forget. But I don't like it when people use emotional, because here's a thing I see. I see a lot of people use the Bible as a shield for themselves, but a weapon for others. And they would use that, especially with somebody who's in goodwill. You have to forgive me. No, that's first of all, the forgiveness comes from the heart. And I never was molested, thank God, but I couldn't see myself. I came up to my mother and told her, this person did this to me, and you neglected me like that, I will shut you down. Like, from then on, I don't care about becoming a millionaire, I don't have nothing to do with you. Because you allow that the point of being a parent is you need to protect that child, especially as a mother, just like a man's supposed to protect their woman. See, here's the thing. Females ask a lot of things of men, and they give men a lot of standard. However, what I noticed is a lot of times, you give a lot of these men standard. When they don't live up to that standard, that man is put down. And rightfully so. If you're a deadbeat father, you should be called a deadbeat father. But then you don't hear people calling deadbeat mothers. And I've seen a lot of them. And just because you live under that person, down means you can't be a deadbeat parent. You can still be a deadbeat parent and the kid living under you. I feel like it's almost like an entitlement. It's, you have to understand, when you set a standard for one person, it should be for everyone. If you could set a standard for men, you should keep that standard, but then the female should also live up to that standard. You expect men to treat you with respect and to be outstanding people. I agree with that. However, I see a lot of mothers, wives, not be living up to that standard as well.
Right. Now, question, right? Kids, all right, as far as the trend that's being set, kids is having them, right? Okay, what do you consider a child that's made out of love?
Well, someone who so first of all, when you create a child, isn't it smart to make a child with somebody who wants that child? Because
very smart.
Right. So if the person you know is whoring you, or you know that person is just sleeping with you, and you feel like energy, like some people feel certain energy that you click, right? So you would know, a lot of people would know that this man is meant to be a father. The reason why I say this is because usually when they mess with the first father, they find an outstanding stepfather sometimes, right? So they know what's a decent man. Here's the problem. You hear things like females don't like lanes, the guy don't have a swag, they make fun of the Dexter guy, you see it all the time. You see the 9 to 5 guy who works 9 to 5, and he seems like he can be a great person, but they call him a lame. And these are not teenagers. Here's the thing. These are not teenagers. I can understand the teenager, but I'm telling you, amongst my age range, these are females in their mid-20s, 30s, 40s. These are mid-age females where they should be wise and wise enough to tell younger females this is how the way things should be. There was a time where, and we can't.
Who's that in the car? I'm listening.
The females portion. from the older generation, because it was a time where grandmothers and mothers were they taught their daughters
Mm-hmm.
how to behave. The reason why I say this is a trend
Mm-hmm.
is because even with the good advice and them knowing the situation and where it leads you, they still do it. When something's a trend, they make certain things, like for instance, the LBG thing is a trend. So they're making things like a lifestyle into trends that shouldn't be trends.
Right.
And so how do you know that person is going to have that child by love? You see, because they plan for that child. People who want something really bad, they actually have plans for it.
And a plan for it, right? Okay, and that was my point too, right? They would actually have a plan for it. Let me start with the car. Is Barzal in here? He stepped outside. All right, that's cool. The car. Your parents was married when they had you?
Technically under the law.
No, not under the not not under the law. Was was they married when they had you?
Sir, they was on the road to destruction.
What about you, brother? They wasn't married. Was your parents married?
Yeah.
They was married, right? When they had you, right? Cool. Most High in Christ, right? So y'all parents wasn't married when they had you, right? Are y'all parents still together? Is your mom and dad still together? Yeah. Is your mom and dad still together?
Yeah, they do.
They are. What about your mom and dad? They not. What about yours?
I'm just gonna get the sister.
Yeah, because that's rare. That's actually an excellent thing, though. That's rare. I got a cousin who mom and dad are still together. What about yours, McCar?
Man, my dad is single. That's how far away, you know what I mean?
My mom and dad it's not still together. They probably been broken up since 94, something like that, right? Because here's the thing. Playing kids, which is why I asked this question, right? Here's one of the reasons why I asked this question, because I see where you're coming from and I see your point of view, right? Because as you explaining it, one thing I noticed is that your parents has to still be together because of your point of view and how you explain and everything, right? Go ahead.
I would disagree. It had to do with actually my parents, because again, I've seen single parents who are great single parents, and I've seen parents who are together that are parents. But usually,
Right.
like either if it doesn't go your way, if you know that you want kids by how you live in your life, and then
Hold on, real quick, sis. Go ahead.
No,
All right, cool. All right, real quick, sis. Go ahead and finish what you were saying.
when you have the kid, you actually physically have that child. You either are attached to that child or you either fall in love with that child.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you might not even have that child, but you fall in love with that child right there. And then either you're attached to that child or you love that child.
Right.
And a lot of times, especially females, your emotions, we think out of our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, when we carry that child, we have bad emotions and
the hormones and everything, right?
So become detached. That woman becomes detached by that child. You can be in a good marriage, but you can be detached to that child because you feel like that child is causing issues with your marriage. So I know where you're coming from. You say, "Oh, because I have my parents," but I have seen cases where children came up in bad household with two parents. Is how that parent, that the emotional attachment that you after you have that kid, you start to make plans. You go out, you do certain things like you decorate the room, you set up college fund, you go out your way to do certain things. When you detach to that child, it's like an empty void. You feel like that child's a burden. Every time you see that kid, it makes that person feel a certain type of way. That's why you have to see a lot of child abuse. But
right. Okay. All right. I totally understand what you're coming from. Right. All right. So and to wrap it up, right. Right. Here's why I said that I kind of like I knew that your parents were still together from your point of views and everything, right? Because just like I said, I got family members, cousins, and everything who mom and dad is still together, and when I talk to them, they say the same thing, right? But here's the disconnect, what they don't understand, and sometimes it'd be hard for them to see, and it's not their fault. It's hard for them to see is because they pay attention to more so the people that's around them, who's more so like them than the people that's not like them. So meaning this, you might have some friends who's in a single parent household and they raise their kids up to a standard that these other people don't raise their kids. So you might pay attention more to these people who raise their kids, right? Sell up college funds, tuitions, and put their kids through college and all that. When really the people who don't do that, you don't pay attention to because you really wasn't raised like that, right? You really wasn't raised like that. So in a sense of like this. So when I asked the question, who parents was married, right? There's two other brothers in this room who said no. Well, it's three total who said no against one, right? Which to shows, not saying that black people don't have mothers and fathers who are not still together, but the odds against it is very slim. And 9 times out of 10, the person who grew up with the mother and father, and they mother and father got some years together, going to think different than the other people who just grew up in a single parent home, right? The person who grew up with the mother and the father is more than likely not going to experience the child growing up with bad credit. Not saying that it's not going to happen. More than likely, it's not going to happen, right? Because there's going to be ways around it. It's going to be more than one income in the house versus the child who grew up in a single parent household. And even the dude she dealing with is not going to trust her enough to put anything in their name because they know this is temporary. So she got to go with her kids. And in her mind, she's going to pay this off. And it's not going to go how she thinking it's going to go. In her mind, how she thinking it's going to go, it's not going to go that way. Right? So it's really a mind frame on, how you think. But it all goes back to this. Who was her in Proverbs 22 for me? Go ahead. You can read it.
Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
Train up a child in the way he should go.
Train up a child in the way they should go. You should train your child up in the way they should live, how they should live, right? Read.
And when he is old, he will not depart from it.
When he is old, what you taught him, he will not depart from it. When they say train up a child in the way they should go, what is it talking about? What way you should train your child up?
Survival within this world, basically, and the way of God.
In a nutshell, meaning what? Let me get a brother a shot.
I was going to say having high value and high honor. Stuff like that.
What you was going to say in the car?
Law, statutes, and commandments.
Law, statutes, and commandments. Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, I believe, the 10th verse. Keeping the laws of the Most High is the whole duty of man. You train your child up and to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. When they get old, they are never going to depart from it. Here's the disconnect. A lot of us is not trained up that way. I got a ton of cousins who grew up in both parents' household, who had a college tuition set up for them where they wouldn't have to pay for college. Everything was going to be paid off, and they still didn't go that route because it ultimately came down to what he wanted to do when he got old enough. He never had a bad day where he missed a meal. He never had, and he was in here one day. I brought him here one day. Never had a day where he missed a meal. Never had a bad day in his life. Never experienced lights off. when we make jokes about syrup sandwiches and Kool-Aid sandwiches, he used to be looking like, what the hell are y'all talking about? That's how good his life was. Graduated high school, and it was a wrap. He started selling drugs. He didn't have to. I remember we used to be on the block like, yo, why are you doing this? You don't have to do this. You can go to college and make it out here and make it out of here and show us a different way. You know, you can discover something and come back and bring jobs to the hood. But he decided to go a different route. So all that his parents set up for him meant nothing the moment he got grown. He was a virgin until his parents let his curfew go from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. None of that mattered. And right now he got a child that's about 9 to 10 years old. So even him going through college, the child would have interfered with him. He grew up on a path and just did his own thing when he got older. The inch of freedom they gave him, he took advantage of it. End up locked up, end up bailed out the very next day. And this is multiple cousins that I got. He was bailed out the very next day. Meanwhile, the people he was locked up with, they sitting for 2-3 weeks on the $300 bail because they people don't got it, but his people came and bailed him out. So it ultimately, you can raise your child up however you want, but the moment they get old enough to do what they want, you would see if what you did worked. And you train your child up in the way that they should go, which is the law, statutes, and commandments. When they get old, they will never depart. Read on.
Verse 7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the Bible.
Read verse 6 one more time. Salakia.
Verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
Right, we all got different stories. Some of us sitting in here with bad credit because of our parents. Some of us sitting in here with good credit because of our parents. Some of us sitting in here with no record. Some of us sitting here with a record. But it all comes down to we all made a decision to wipe whatever the hell we did before we knew the truth, clean away, and we all came in here for a clean slate. So a mother could come in here with 10 kids, and all her 10 kids got bad credit because she put cable, light bills, whatever the hell she did in their name. The moment she come in here, guess what we gonna do? Help clear her and her kids' credit up. Regardless of whatever mistake you made, all that get wiped away once you come in here and keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And this is not just talk. We got hundreds of testimonies from all over. So whatever you did when you was in the world, should you go and get cable or phone bills and all that in your kid's name? Hell no, you shouldn't. Because when they get old enough and they live on their own and they decide to get stuff on their own and realize they can't because you messed their credit up, that is something you shouldn't do. Should you do it? Hell no. But guess what can happen? We can help you with that. This is facts. This is facts until somebody else say, yo, he said that, and I went through the program that they put me through, and it didn't help me not one bit. It didn't help me or my 10 kids not one bit. This is facts. We living out here, how we living and how we raised, none of us was raised right or living right. None of us. Because we all celebrated Christmas. We all celebrated Thanksgiving. We all celebrated Halloween. We all ate pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, smoked. Whatever you did, we all committed some type of sin in our life, which means our parents did not raise us upright. But once you come in here, none of that matter. Once you give your life over to the Most High, keep His law, statutes, and commandment. So yes, sister, back in 2016, you was a hoe. You slept with many different men because you needed love. Yes, nobody listened to you when you told them you was raped back in 98. Cool. Here's how we can help you. And that's our job. That's the whole point of this school. You know, or just the whole point of this. That's just the whole duty. is to help bring our people back and keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, because that's what matters the most. What you did doesn't matter. Why? Because if it does matter, then I shouldn't be here. I should be here. 9 times out of 10, I did way more worse stuff than y'all did, and y'all couldn't imagine. So if anybody should not be here more than y'all, it should be me. I should not be up here teaching y'all about the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High because of the stuff that I did. From the age of 8 up until when I came into the truth, what was that? 21? Up until the day I was born, up until 21, I should not be here telling y'all what the Lord said because of the stuff I did back then. Please, I should be dead right now. We all should be dead. Should that sister be having sex with multiple men to find love? Hell no, she shouldn't. Should that brother be sleeping with that sister, get her pregnant, and then leave? Hell no, he shouldn't. But he didn't know no better in a society that doesn't help you. Some of us are fortunate to have parents who won't put a cable bill in your name, who won't put, phone bills in your name. Nakar, you was going to say something? All right, cool. The water. Some of us is unfortunate to not go through that. But guess what? We all ended here. We all ended here because we all should be dead. Even though you got a good credit score, your mom and dad was so good to you. They loved you. They was married, and then they had you. Cool. So are you with the guy who you had sex with the first time? No. Okay, you didn't know that that sex was marriage. Are you with the woman you first slept with? The woman you first ever had sex with, are you still with her? No. The guy you first ever had sex with, are you still with him? No. Did you know sex was marriage? No. We all in the same goddamn boat. No sin is different than any other sin. And so like, the car, you got the announcements? All right. So with that, I'm going to pass the class off to priest and officer in the car.